Oh my God. I am live. I am live on this beautiful Saturday. There was a protest I could have gone to about the Boundary Waters. The Boundary Waters is under attack because that makes me very, very sad. The Boundary Waters is such a beautiful, wonderful place. And I've spent a couple of weeks up there in the wilderness. Quit. Am I allowed to talk about it? There's a nasty habit that everybody calls the nasty habit that I had in the first half of my 20s that I quit in the Boundary Waters. Had my last one while fishing on a canoe in the Boundary Waters. Anyway, that's part of the news this week. But of course, the news story that me and my buddies are still trying to push is very much the Savannah Hernandez debacle. We're gonna milk that for more and more views, more grifting, more trolling, more getting Fox News angry at us, more getting Turning Point USA mad at us, more getting JD Vance mad at us, more getting Kash Patel sicked on us. Why is the FBI investing in a parking lot fight? It's the silliest thing. So we're just going to keep it up with that. But I think the big announcement today to the one person watching, hello, Michigan. Did I pronounce it correctly? Hello, Walter. Welcome. Just started. So if whoever's here could get double tapping on the screen, get some more people in here. I'd love to do some debates because I'm now well rested. I did a stream last night. I've been streaming every day, but I just checked my work schedule, and I've got like a run. I've got like 2 or 3 weeks where I can actually promise to live stream 10 to 12 every day, except on the days where there are major protest events that I will, of course, be attending and doing coverage of. But assuming that there's nothing big happening in Minneapolis, I will be streaming 10 to 12 Central Standard Time going forward. So that's great. That's not what time it is now. It's past 12. So I'm going to try to stream for a couple hours, but starting tomorrow, it's going to be consistent. Today, what's the sign say? MAGA is doomed. It's a new sign every day, so I have to come up with random stuff to say. So it doesn't really matter what the sign over my shoulder says. I just got to keep it fresh for the content and get the people scrolling on the For You page to want to stop in and call. Ooh, I should get my multi-guest queue open. Hello, Sunny. Hello, Elliot. Hello, Evo. Anyway. I think MAGA is doomed. I'm starting to feel some confidence, like with Trump feuding with the Pope. I mean, what a move. Feuding with the Pope, dude? Like, what are you doing? Ridiculous. Anna says, I hope so. I assure something says what I think is useless. I disagree. 5 million people on Instagram disagree. Actually, it's 5 million views, not 5 million individual people. My reach is something like 1.5 million accounts, which is pretty exciting. I mean, you can just tell me that nobody cares what I think, but I've actually, over the last week, had so many journalists that I really value, like, reach out and tell me that they're really excited about what I'm doing. Like, a bunch of people care what I think, and that's why I'm successful at this, because you're not successful at this unless people care what you think and you're good at articulating what you think. So you're wrong about that. If you want to call in and say some mean things to me, please don't violate the TikTok terms of service, but you are welcome to do so. That's kind of the thing I do around here. All in vain. Dude, you are spending time. Ooh, perish. You're ordering me to unalive. Great. Yeah, great. Let's get you, I'll be sent to where? Sheol? What even is that? Just, making death threats. I'm pretty used to that. Mods. Yeah. What are you talking about, dude? Wait, you seem to care what I think. You do realize that, right? I say perish. Perish is a great word. Somebody says, who says perish anymore? Perish is a super fun word to use for when people are like, when I say that I'm like hungover or something, are you okay? I'm like, oh no, I shall perish. It's like a phrase I use. Yeah, this guy cares what I think, clearly. He's sitting here upset about all the things I do and think. I mean, proving yourself wrong, buddy. Why are you here? Why are you engaging with the content? Why are you watching if you don't care what I think? If nobody cares what I think? What, like, just answer me, riddle me this. Why are my live streaming? Can't talk. Not warmed up yet. Why are my live streams doing so well if nobody cares what I think? Pay it a visit. I don't actually really care what you think, dude. So I'm not actually going to go check on that. I don't really care at all. Will, are you Will from last night? Are you the Will that sent me a donation last night? I appreciate you, Will. Link tree in the bio. Gotta support the grift. The grift, it's good to see you, Will. That is Will from last night. It's such an interesting equation of people are mad at me for being good at grifting. Which, obviously I'm just co-opting the term grifting because I don't actually think what I'm doing is grifting. I'm selling entertainment to people. I'm selling content that I produce in my little crappy home studio, and people like it, so they send me money, and like that's fine. But if you're not good at doing that, then nobody watches. There's certain things you have to do. You know, like is Dean Withers a little yippy and annoying sometimes? Yes, I am too. You have to be. You have to fill dead air. 18 people here. You ain't made it yet, bro. Yeah, dude, I started the live stream 5 minutes ago, and I like, I'm new at this. Like, I love it when people tell me that I don't. Go to my Instagram, click the Reels tab, look at the view counts, and then come back and tell me that nobody's watching. Will says, MAGA is doomed. Love that prompt. Yeah, it's a good one, because I that's maybe an interesting topic, because I could crash out about talking about the E. Jean Carroll case for the millionth fucking time, because I'm getting so sick of spending an hour a day talking about the same fucking court case that so many people have ruled was a rape. I'm just like, it's just not good content to do the same exact thing every single day. Nobody has a new argument. The dress that wasn't out yet. The source for the fact that the dress didn't exist at the time is Trump. Trump just said that on Truth Social, and these dumb fucks believed it. It's crazy. Trayman says E. Jean Carroll is a lie. I'm just gonna fucking like mute you, dude, because I'm so goddamn tired of talking about E. Jean Carroll. I don't want to hear it today. Come back tomorrow. Maybe I'll talk with you about E. Jean Carroll tomorrow. But the prompt, it doesn't really have anything to do with like any particular claim against Trump. It's just that like the dude is cooked. Like he got the Pope mad at him. He's going to lose a lot of favor over that. Really, just overall, generally, everything that he's doing is truly wildly unpopular right now, and getting less and less popular by the day. The more and more people are watching, the less popular it all is. The more millions of views that I get on Instagram, the less and less popular it is. Daniel thinks that Americans love Trump. No, dude, I don't think that they do. I think that they're losing. Like I think he's losing the PR battle, you know? And then like what? If he keels over or gets impeached or whatever might happen to him, or you know, he gets assassinated or something, what? JD Vance is going to replace him? That guy's not charismatic enough to inherit a dictatorship. Like nobody's going to listen to that twerp. Daniel says, yeah, we do. Just socialists and commies hate him. That's false. Irma Ramos says, not going to happen. I'm just going to clown on you for a second, Irma Ramos. Like, not just because you disagree with me, because you're doing a thing that I think is a sign of unintelligence, which is that you're putting in the chat, not going to happen, when in the last 30 seconds I said probably 8 different things because I talk really quickly. We don't know what you're talking about. This is something called narcissism or egocentrality. That's what the psychologists call it. You don't understand that people don't know what you meant because you said not going to happen. About what? What's not going to happen? Why is my dog barking? Noodle, come here. Come here. Noodle, there's nobody at the door. Maybe there's somebody at the door. Oh, right when the viewers get here. I'm going to go check if there's somebody at my door. Give me 1 second, and then Bolt, you stay there. I'm coming right back. Nope, nobody's there. Hold on. Thank you for the alert, though. Here you go. All right, what are we talking about in the chat? And we got people in here. We're going to talk to Bolt Cam. I am just going to ban the person who's addressing the cold sore that I have because fuck you, dude. I was born with it. Like, yeah, I don't care. I'm here live in front of people. Like, I literally had a cold sore the week where I had more media coverage than I've ever had in my entire life, and I just don't give a shit. Because again, if you're going to come at me for that, you're demonstrating like the type of piece of garbage that you are. So like, go for it. Make fun of me for having a cold sore and being brave enough to live stream and go on the news anyway. Literally walked into a television station on Thursday and did an interview. It's insanely common. Like 90% of people have it, and then like 10 or 20% of those people are unlucky enough to get a cold sore every now and then. I'm one of them. I was born with it, so I get one like every 2 years. And if God's real, he's an asshole for giving me one the week where I was going to be on television more than ever. And then only genital herpes is rare, which I don't have. But anyway, Bolt Cam Pin, TikTok user 513. I see you in the queue. I hope you hang on, but Bolt Cam Pin did just get here first. So, first of all, please don't break the TikTok terms of service and tell me, how old are you?
Oh, you came in broken up. I'm sorry.
Oh, just checking how old you are.
Oh, I'm 23.
I believe you. What do you want to discuss?
I just, what's your political affiliation?
I think that Trump belongs in prison.
Well, that's not a political affiliate. Like, I think he belongs in prison too, but I'm a Republican. Like, are you a Democrat?
I suppose I identify as a Democratic Socialist.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have to pick like a category, but like if we're talking right and left, I'm on the left. If we want to get specific, okay. I'd say I'm a Democratic Socialist, and between liberals and leftists, I say I'm a liberal. When the Civil War starts, I'll become a leftist, but for now I'm a liberal.
Okay. Now, can I ask you some like general questions before we continue?
Please do.
So, do you believe that men should have a say in like issues like abortion?
Yeah, I think everybody should get a vote. I think that there are issues that disproportionately affect one gender, and we should still vote on them. Because if we say no to that, I see where the counter argument is. But if we say no to that, then we have to ask the question: how do we decide which issues men don't get to vote on? And that little conundrum: how do we decide who gets what voting rights? Nope. Everybody gets one vote. We should teach men to be compassionate so that they vote in a way that's like ethical. That's the solution, not restricting voting rights. Restricting voting rights is such a nuclear option for anything that even if it accomplishes something that I'd like getting abortion rights back or something like that, that's such a big no-no that it is just not a good way to do this at all.
That's very admirable of you to, say that. Do you believe that we should be able to vote, like say that, for example, there's a vote that is, being conducted about like gender affirming care for children, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should we be able to vote for that without like scientific evidence to support our claim?
Well, we already get to vote on everything without any scientific evidence for our claim. That's how democracy works. People like me try to educate the public better about science. And I think that the big problem we have right now, bigger than the issue of gender affirming care, is that the voting public is wildly uneducated about these things. And for decades, but like in particularly the last 15 years or so, Republicans have been working really hard to normalize lying. So they have miseducated the public. I sit here and listen to bullshit all day long that is just obviously false to anybody who has actually taken an academic approach to trying to understand what the truth is. So like that's a huge problem. But again, we shouldn't restrict voting rights from stupid people. We should make people less stupid. We shouldn't say only the experts can vote. We should just, we should build a culture of respecting what the experts do. Because, for example, cardiologists decide what kind of heart surgeries people have after heart attacks. Nobody's saying that we should do that democratically because it's so obvious that we should listen to the experts. And we as a public should just listen to the experts about these controversial issues because we get to better solutions if we do that.
Okay. So I'll just get right into it. How do you feel about firearms, and do you believe that they should be regulated?
Yeah, I think, there's lots of danger. We tend to regulate dangerous things. Like cars are pretty dangerous, so we regulate that. You have to prove to the state that you're responsible with one, and if you misuse your car, they take away your right to use it. Planes are way more dangerous than cars.
It's not a right to use a car, though. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's not right to have a car.
Yeah, well, right. So I'm just talking about generally, though, when things are dangerous, because I think that you can recognize that cars and guns are dangerous in a kind of similar way, right?
No.
Oh, interesting. Why? You can cause a lot of damage with a car.
Right. But I don't even think cars are dangerous. I think the individuals that are using the vehicle are dangerous. If you make dangerous decisions, dangerous outcomes happen.
Okay, a person with This I like agree that it's the person that needs to get blamed. But like, if we take a guy who wants to kill a bunch of people, and we give him a car, that makes him more dangerous, right?
Yeah, but it's not.
That's all I mean. That we can disagree. I'm not interested in the semantics about it. That's what I mean. Cars can be used as a weapon, and they're quite a powerful weapon, is all I'm saying. Okay. So yeah, we regulate it for safety, as the chat just pointed out, and I do think that the same is true for guns. But I'm a pro-gun liberal. If I had more disposable income, it's absolutely a hobby I would take up. I love every occasion that I've sat in the back of somebody's cabin, shooting beer cans on the fence. Like, I love that. It's like one of my favorite things when I get to do it. But my entire life, I've never had $500 or $1,000 I wanted to spend on a nice firearm that I instead would not prefer to spend on, like, I'm more into these. These are kind of expensive. So if I won the lottery, I'd go to the gun range tomorrow. But and I think that me being like a non-violent, I've got like parking tickets and shit, but like I don't have a criminal record or anything. So like, yeah, I believe in regulation. I do believe it should be harder to get a gun than it is in most places, and you might disagree because of the Second Amendment. But I also think that the Second Amendment is one of those amendments that, while I believe in its like sentiment, it's a little hard to take it seriously when the sorts of weapons we're talking about like completely didn't exist when the Second Amendment was written. Like, it just, I think that's honestly even true about the First Amendment. The First Amendment has this glitch where, because the media conglomerates have the First Amendment right to censor whatever they want, suddenly people like me don't really, like, I have to navigate not being able to say whatever I want on here, for example, where most people are watching. So like, it's all very messy, but I'm pro-gun, like in general.
Okay. Yeah,
And I'll add to that. I think that one of my greatest criticism of the left on gun policy is that I don't like making policies with our emotions. And while school shootings are terrible and horrible, and we should like work on fixing that, I think that people are so clouded by how horrific those occasions are that it causes them to not like use a data-driven approach to look at gun policy that would reduce harm, because assault rifles are really not like. If you could make it harder to get one particular type of weapon in order to prevent children from dying, it's not assault rifles that would accomplish that. It's handguns. So like if we're going to talk about data-driven policy based on like crimes that actually happen, the left kind of has gun control wrong, in my opinion.
I also think that the left, I'm from Illinois, so I live in a very blue state. I've moved out of I lived in a very blue state. I'm moving, but I'm moving to Tennessee, right? So. This state right here has something called the PICA ban. It's Protect Illinois Community Act, and it literally redefined words to fit their narrative, right? So they made up this word called assault weapons, right? They tried to name it assault rifle. Like, do you think an AR-15 is an assault rifle?
Yes.
What does AR stand for?
I don't know. It could stand for assault rifle, but I don't know.
It stands for armor light rifle. An assault rifle is a rifle that has a select fire switch, right? Meaning that it can go from like semi to like full auto. So if somebody does have an AR-15 that can go to full auto.
Yeah, see, I'm actually going to cut you off because I just don't like this type of argument, because what most people mean when they say assault rifle is the style of weapon that an AR-15 is. And you can give me some technicality about it just I like, again, it's a semantic argument when in reality we're talking about the effect. When we earlier we talked about how much more dangerous the guy is because he has the car. When I talk about assault rifles, I'm talking about how much more. Okay, dude, I'm banning you for the all caps. Like, you could have stayed, dude.
There is no assault weapon.
Sorry, just to the chat. Like, if you put something all caps like that and you fill the chat, you get banned. Like, I've given that guy a warning before, but there, he's gone. Anyway, sorry, that was distracting.
So I'm trying to debate. I think that the worst thing, and it's not even just the left, it's Republicans too. Like, I don't even think Trump's a Republican, right? I think he's a con artist businessman. I don't think he identifies, I don't think he represents a republic the way that it should.
You're saying Trump is using the fact that Republicans are easier to grift?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree 100%. He was a Democrat for most of his life, and then he was like, all right, time to run for president. Better be a Republican so that I can convince these dumb fucks that they should vote for me, even though I'm a rapist and a bunch of other things. Con man.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to get, I'm not trying to debate semantics. What I'm trying to say is I think the wording that we use, right, like the wording makes it sound like you're kind of demonizing, not you, but when you use these words like this, it sounds vulgar, right? Like the term assault rifle sounds very vulgar, right? So when people make these laws, they use verbal judo. I don't know if you've heard that term. It's a very good term. There's a book called Verbal Judo. I recommend it. Yeah, anyway, so they use this, right? I think honestly, the most dangerous thing that we have are our words, 100%. Our actions aren't as dangerous as our words, because the actions come from the words.
I mean, again, like you're like, you could find examples of both sides of that, but I think it's like a really meaningless generalization to make. I need to talk to the chat for a second, just because there's a lot going on. Okay. Warrior for America, you are allowed to not like me, but no caps in the chat. It's just a rule. What's going on with my lip? I have a cold sore because I was born with the oral herpes that 90% of people have. If you think that's a problem and you want to keep arguing about it, it's not something I chose. It's the body that I arrived in, and I'm not interested in that type of dialogue with anybody, much less myself, so you'll get banned if you keep bringing it up. There was one more thing I wanted to respond to. He's a New York Democrat. Yes, I am. Oh, this is what it was. Will is asking if I want a new mic arm. It got left at a bar I do a show at because somebody who I used this mic as a crowd mic, and a piece got left behind, so I taped it. So it's temporary. But I appreciate you, Will. Sorry. Gotta engage with the chat some, and remind them all to get double tapping on the screen to get more people in here. Follow me if you're not following me. Let's get more debaters in here. All right, back to what you were saying, Bolt Cam.
If there's a huge queue, I just want to agree. I don't like MAGA. Right, even as a more conservative individual, I think MAGA are a bunch of cultists. They don't know anything about what they're talking about. They don't understand any of the social issues that Trump is trying to quote unquote fix. They don't understand that we are in a war. You know, I just got into a debate with somebody. They said that we're not in a war with Iran. They said that, and I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, so they're like, there was.
He calls it a war. He calls it a war. Hegseth calls it a war. Our legislators call it a war. I appreciate you coming up. We had some interesting stuff. I'm going to let you go and move on. Thank you so much.
Get those herpes fixed.
Oh yeah. Somebody's saying 90% in the chat. Yeah, it is actually most people. It's just very rare for people to have outbreaks. So like I get one every year or two. Somebody said L-lysine works. It didn't for me. I took it for years and years and years, and it just didn't change the rate at which they presented. So I just whatever. Bad timing. So much media coverage around me this week. I literally had to walk into a television station with a cold sore. Though I will say, I've become quite the local celebrity, like in the last few months, but in particularly in the last week. And I still had girls hitting on me for it in the bar on Thursday when I was working a gig. And I thought, this is crazy. I'm so popular. I got girls chasing me, even though I have like literally an active cold sore. Hilarious. Rage baiting host, projection. I wouldn't say I do any projection, but I do rage bait. Like the sign is rage bait. We're gonna talk to TikTok user 513, and I will just apologize for everybody for the flow of the show. I don't think I have any moderators present right now. So I might make Will a moderator. Will, let me know if you want to be a moderator. You've earned my trust. But I do need to watch the chat a little bit more. Oh, Diava's here. Never mind. Thank you, Diava. How wonderful. Yeah, I just have to watch the chat way more closely when I don't have mods, which is rare these days because the lives have been doing fantastically well. Anyway, TikTok user 513, what would you like to discuss? Oh, first of all, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 27.
I believe you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And also, before we start talking, I can't even believe that people don't know cold sores are common. That I learned that when I was in like 8th grade.
Yeah, I could just ignore all of it, but I honestly think that like it's worth just telling people like, hey, I have a thing that most people have that I was born with that most people are lucky enough that it doesn't like present. But like, yeah, I like calling the attention to the bad behavior of Republicans. And if you're going to come after me for having a cold sore, like that's a demonstration of your character being crappy. So like, yeah, like we can talk about it. I don't care. But yeah, it is most people.
Yeah, no, I was the dude in the chat who said, like, I think the majority of people have it. I'm like shocked that people don't know that. Even people who don't commonly get them, like most people get at least one of them in their life. But anyways, on the topic, yeah.
By the way, fun fact for everybody. I have a spot. I usually get them right here. This one, every now and then when I get a fat lip, it triggers one, and I got a fat lip because I was in the Savannah Hernandez altercation. So I like got elbowed in the face by somebody or something. So like, I'll wear it as a badge of honor. It's a battle scar from getting in a scuffle at the Whipple. By the way, I broke up the fight. I did not attack her. I was not one of the people who fought her. But anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was going to say on the prompt, I listened to your conversation with the last guy. I'm definitely more of a right winger in general. Mm-hmm. So I would probably, I'm probably on the opposite side of the aisle. But I do think that MAGA is doomed. Like, I think that the original movement is certainly completely dead. And I'm really interested to see how the midterms play out. I see a lot of people and I don't see a lot of concern, and I read the news a lot. I follow politics, and it's kind of a hobby of mine. And I'm going, I think that this is going to be insane. The midterms are shaping up to be like potentially like once in a lifetime.
I was about to say, I don't think we've ever had a midterms this important. I'm sure there might be like an example from like the 1800s or something. But yeah, well, my thing is that I think you're right. I think that the MAGA movement has become so unpopular. The chat asked, when I say MAGA, it is just an abbreviation that gets used on TikTok for Trump supporters. That's all it means. It's just fewer. It's easier to spell and or read, on the sign to have 4 letters instead of Trump supporters. So yeah, I think you're right, but that's why I'm so concerned about the midterms, because I think if they were completely free and fair and Trump didn't do anything to make them less free and fair and Congress didn't do anything to make them less free and fair, it'd be a landslide. I think we'd see a blue wave like we've never seen before, because so many people, there's a statistic I bring up, which is that December of 2024, there was a poll done on how many people think that the system of checks and balances in this country is not working, and a third of people thought that, which is a pretty concerning figure. But 20% of people have some pretty ridiculous beliefs on most polling matters, so that's not really like a lot when I think about it, but it is a big deal that when that poll was reconducted 12 months later in December of 2025, the number had gone the other way. now 2/3 of people think that the system of checks and balances isn't working. And that's an enormous number of people switching teams on a very important thing about, like there's always a bunch of people who are going to say, oh, government's broken. So like seeing a third isn't a lot. But the fact that it switched, the fact that 1/3 of people switched teams on that's fucking crazy. That would indicate that they are very concerned about what's happening. And that suggests to me that the public's, because of that concern, that's the sort of concern that will have people voting not along their party lines. There are a lot of blue no matter who voters right now who may have voted for Trump but are seeing the sorts of things that he's doing and want this to end.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of my thought process is maybe a little bit different. I mean, I just feel like Trump is really moving with relatively no concern at all for the midterms. I mean, I would honestly argue, even with what they're saying in the media about his the people that are vehemently for Trump, I genuinely, as someone who's been pro-Trump, I think that he's just totally destroying the majority of the people that have followed him. Like, disavowing people like Tucker Carlson is just not a good idea if you're him. And so I'm like, doesn't seem like he's really concerned about midterms, which is interesting. It's more interesting when you're following the news in the
I disagree with that.
Election world, because obviously there's been some pretty shocking developments in terms of them going after the election stuff, which will give them the justification to federalize the midterms.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think that the work that Trump and his party are doing to change election rules before the midterms is a demonstration of just how worried that they are about how it's going to go for them. I mean, Trump just, a week or two ago signed an illegal executive order, an unconstitutional executive order changing election policy around mail-in voting. And then, of course, we have the SAVE Act, which is going to cause massive amounts of voter disenfranchisement to address a minuscule amount of voter fraud that has never, and probably mathematically almost impossible to affect the outcome of an election in this country, or like even any seat in a midterm election. It's I think they're very worried.
I might disagree with you kind of on that one. I honestly don't think that some of the common sense like ID laws for voting are really crazy. And I honestly, it racks my brain why people on the left will play the mental gymnastics to argue that, it's racist or there's some kind of issue with requiring people to show identification to vote in the country. I personally just find myself on that side of the aisle on that one.
Well, so you think that the SAVE Act is good?
I'm actually not super familiar with the language in the bill, but if the language in the bill is that there is some kind of common sense, you have to show proof of citizenship and an ID to vote, then yeah, I would support that. I think that's easy for anyone to do.
So yeah, and it's not easy for anyone to do, and we can talk about that in a second. But what I want to address with you is that the reason we don't currently is because the government knows if you're a citizen or not. You understand that, right? Like when they do voter registration, they can check if you identify who you are, if they believe that you are, like if I go to register to vote and I say I'm Oskar Quentin and the government says like, okay, yep, that's you. You've shown what you need to convince us of that. I don't need to prove that I'm a citizen because the government knows if Oskar Quentin is a citizen. That's why we don't check. Why add the extra step?
Well, I actually think it's a little bit more complex than that. Like, for instance, I don't think that when you go and you vote in like a presidential election and you go into your county or wherever they're hosting it and vote, I don't actually think that there is some kind of like system. I mean, I've literally done it. You go in, if you're registered to vote, you go and you cast your vote. But the argument in a general sense, just in the meaning of what we're talking about, I don't really think that an ID law is bad. For instance, like I register to vote online, okay? Mm-hmm. And then I go and vote in person. Mm-hmm. If you had my information, you could register to vote for me. And then you could show up and you could literally vote for me. Like it wouldn't be very hard to do.
Right,
and to be honest with you, there's really not anything stopping you from doing it.
No, there's a lot stopping you from doing that. Why is the voter fraud rate so low then? Because the number of people who vote fraudulently in elections by that means is minuscule.
Well, that's a separate thing. I'm talking about the actual like practical how people vote. And I'm not arguing whether or not
I said that the
fraud rate occurs.
I didn't bring up something else. You addressed a concern, and what I said is that it doesn't happen. It happens to such a small degree that it's negligible. And when I say negligible, I mean truly statistically negligible. It's something like 0.000. I forget exactly how many zeros it is. It's like 3 to 5 zeros and then a 1. It's a really small rate. So disenfranchising voters by making voter harder, which is what, that's one way to disenfranchise voters. It isn't a good solution to that. It creates more people who should be able to vote won't be able to because of the SAVE Act. Then fraudulent votes will be corrected. Also, the SAVE Act doesn't actually prevent those small amount of fraudulent votes from happening because those are identity theft cases. And if you steal somebody's identity by like getting your hands on their passport or something like that, then you can still vote under the SAVE Act. So it just doesn't even fix the problem. But it could be a huge problem for lots of people, and I want to address that with you. There's 2 ways that it can be a really big problem. 1, let's pretend that everybody has time and money to deal with more steps for voter registration. That's a big assumption. I'll address it in a moment. But let's just assume everybody's got whatever they need money-wise. Maybe it's $100, $200 for a passport. Maybe it's like whatever a birth certificate replacement costs in your state if you've misplaced it. Which I forgive people for misplacing their birth certificates because babies aren't super good at keeping track of paperwork. But we shouldn't punish people's voting rights because their parents were irresponsible. So even if everybody had the time and money to deal with that, especially after what Doge has done to the federal government, the government might not have enough capacity to handle all these requests by the midterms. If the SAVE Act passes and tens of millions of birth certificate replacement requests or tens of millions of passport replacement requests come through, assuming everybody has the time and money to deal with that, they might not get sent out in time. We might have like a clogged system, and that could stop millions of people from voting simply because the government couldn't help them in time. And that is a way bigger problem than voter fraud.
Yeah, listen, I'm actually really surprised that this is your take, because everything in the previous conversation with the guy on gun laws, you were extremely reasonable. Like, for instance, if you want to rent a car, or if you go to the doctor, or there's plenty of goods and services where like you have to check in, or you have to take a picture of your identification and submit it to them. Okay, so this is not like when you say like it's an extra step, it would be like when you register to vote, you have to take a picture of your ID or something like that. So this isn't really like
I would honestly be okay with that, because most people do have an ID, and I think that people should be motivated to make sure they have a proper ID. But most people's ID is a driver's license, which is insufficient to vote.
But what I'm saying in the first place is this: like, for instance, if you want to vote, and this is just the truth. I mean, I don't know how anybody can dispute this, because I'm an adult and I live in the country and I've done it. Like, registering to vote and the process of registering to vote and then going to vote is very, very simple. It is, you spend about 15 minutes on an online thing on your phone, and then you literally drive there and you wait in the line and you vote.
I actually don't care how easy you think it is. I don't have to. It's my live, and so like, don't tell me I have to do anything. But I am just going to not let you finish the point, because of what I really want to talk about is the fact that you're like demonstrating your privilege by just saying it's easy, when there are so many struggling people who have so much going on in their lives that they are having a hard time. Like, the sorts of things that people struggle with when they're poor and struggling to make ends meet is like not keeping up with a parking ticket, and then they lose their driver's license for that, or like not having documentation. Like, think about all of the people who had to flee their homes because they were being abused by their partner and lose their possessions, and they don't have proper paperwork, and now they're slaving away being a waiter at the diner down the street to like, make rent in their crappy apartment. So now they have this new problem to deal with. Oh my God, how do I even get a birth certificate? What do I have to bring to get that? Because I lost all my documentation. I don't have anything. I don't have money to deal with this. And a lot of people simply won't, because their lives are hard. It sounds to me like your life isn't hard enough for you to understand that putting something like that on somebody's plate who doesn't have their affairs in order, because so many people don't have their affairs in order, like it sounds like you do, it's your privilege, dude. Like, no, it is hard for lots of people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to fundamentally just straight up totally disagree with you. One, you're assuming that I have some kind of privilege, and you talk about like single mom waiter working down the road. One, you don't know my life, and the idea
you assumed she was a woman. I kept it gender neutral.
The idea that I disagree with you.
Wait, I want you to address the
like
gotcha. I didn't say the gender. I said a person abused by their partner who became a waiter down the street, and then you said
semantics.
and then no, it's not semantics. And then you called her a single mother. Why did you do that?
What do you mean? Why did I do that? Because
I said
you're just saying basically like a sob story of someone in a bad spot. I think single moms who work as a waitress and are one paycheck away from being poor, that's a bad spot.
So you recognize that the sort of situation I laid out is something that disproportionately happens to women?
Mothers,
that's why it's voter disenfranchisement.
That has nothing to do with
Yes, it does. You proved my point for me. I laid the trap of not naming their gender, and then you said that she's a single mom. That's the fucking problem. Single moms are going to have a harder time voting, dude. You understand it. You just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I just want to be really clear for everyone watching. Your argument is essentially based on the idea that you individually, from what I've said, think that I'm some kind of privileged person. And, so basically,
you're breezing past it.
You think anybody who thinks voter ID should be implemented is just coming from a place of privilege.
I'm not going to move on. I'm not going to move on. This is what we're talking about now. You can keep yapping, but we're going to go right back to the point, which is that I laid out the type of person who's going to have a hard time voting because of the SAVE Act, and you immediately assumed I was talking about a woman. So you recognize that the sort of disenfranchisement that could be caused by the SAVE Act.
Yeah, this is super simple. Are there any men who are disenfranchised from voting?
Yes, but if it's disproportionate...
Okay, so it can happen to men and women.
No, but if it's mostly women, then it will mostly hurt Democratic candidates. So the disenfranchisement is proportionately different because women disproportionately vote for Democrats.
Yeah, but the idea, okay, but I'm not arguing the point based on who I want to benefit and who's going to be disproportionately affected. I'm arguing the point based on the merit of voter ID.
I'm bringing my friend Diava up to talk about it. I feel like I got the W I was looking for. Diava, you got a piece on this?
Yeah.
Your whole argument is that you think I'm privileged and that I can't...
I'm sorry. I asked Diava a question.
If you're white and you're in America, especially a man, you're at the top of the fucking food chain, my guy. You have all the privilege this country was built for. Shut your yapper. And number two, your name doesn't change when you get married, but women do. And in the SAVE Act, your name on your ID has to match your birth certificate or your passport. So that's why it disenfranchises women on another level, other than separate of the trap that
we didn't even bring that up, but that's a huge part of it, yeah.
Right. My last name does not match. And you can't use a marriage certificate. That's not one of the forms that's listed in the SAVE Act that you can use to prove that your name change happened. You have to have a passport, basically. Or all the women have to change their name back to their maiden name. Because that's why it's so specific in the SAVE Act that the names have to match. And the reason why you can't use a driver's license is because your driver's license doesn't tell the country where you were born. Only your passport and only a birth certificate shows citizenship. That's the problem. That would be a poll tax to require everyone to get a passport or a birth certificate if they don't have one, because those things cost money, which is against the 22nd Amendment, I believe it is. 24th, 22nd.
I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable about that particular one. But yeah, I mean, again, like there's even somebody in the chat who's saying like, oh, it's like $60. And it's like, yeah, a policy that says it now costs $60 to vote. That is
against the Constitution.
That's a shitty policy that disenfranchises poor people. Like,
well, not only that, it's unconstitutional.
24th. Thank you, Dank.
It's unconstitutional. Period. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not, doesn't matter. The Constitution says there shall never be a fee that has to be paid in order to vote. And so that would be a fee that someone would have to pay in order to vote.
Mind you, and again, I have to keep stating it because the callers never understand it. The reason it's completely meaningless and it's only a fee and it accomplishes nothing is that because a driver's license is enough for the government to know if you're a citizen. Because I can't tell, it doesn't say if you're a citizen on a driver's license, and non-citizens are allowed to have driver's licenses. But if you give your driver's license to the government, they're the government. They will just check if you're a citizen. They fucking know. Like. What are people not understanding about that? Oh, 60 isn't a lot. It doesn't matter if it's $1 fucking dollar, dude. Some people who have a right to vote don't have a fucking dollar. Like, the bigger the number, the bigger the problem. But I don't care if you think the voter disenfranchisement is wrong, or is small. It's wrong. It's unconstitutional, and it could swing the entire fucking election.
I have 2 points, if I may, real quick, and then you can let TikTok user go. On those lines, do you need to check that or? Okay.
Just gonna mute myself.
Okay. I had 2 points, dang it. The second one I had, the first one brain farted me. I don't know. Second one I had was if they are going to, in December of 2026 of this year, if they're going to auto enroll every single male that turns 18 years old into the selective service in order to be drafted if they need be, why can't they do that when people turn 18 and automatically register them to vote?
I didn't figure you're asking me. Oh,
No, I'm asking him. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Here, I am gonna check my door, but I'm gonna turn up the loudspeaker so I'm just gonna mute myself. I can hear you guys. Keep going. Sorry.
Okay. I invited him to unmute.
Yeah, what was your question?
You weren't even listening. I said, if they are going to, the December of 2026, this year, they're going to automatically enroll every 18-year-old male who turns 18 into the selective service for their draft service. So why can't they automatically enroll every U.S. citizen when they turn 18 to vote?
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how that kind of plays into what I was talking about in the first place.
Because the government already knows who's a citizen, doofus. That's our whole point. They already know everything about us. They have everything on us. I mean, Elon Musk has it all too now, but they already know everything. They know who's born here. They're the ones that the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, not the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the Office of Vital Statistics in every single state registers every single birth, and they print every single fucking birth certificate. They already know who is here legally. Republicans are doing this in order to disenfranchise voters. That's why they gerrymander. That's why they try to make these loopholes, which is why in Project 2025, it says they only want to have one vote per household, and that's from the man, that women are no longer to vote, which is why they want us all back in the house and not working. So they're trying to make life hard for us. Also in Project 2025, just a caveat, so that we know this is what they're doing. This has nothing to do with it, but this is how we know what they're doing. They're wanting to put an extra tax on single mothers that aren't married. That's what's in Project 2025. I'm not saying they've instituted it yet, but they're about 70% away through. So we already know this is about disenfranchising voters, especially women. They don't want women voting because women don't typically
I still just can't get over the fact, and he hasn't even really responded to what might be the greatest gotcha of my live streaming career so far, which is that I laid out a situation of a person that would have a hard time voting, and I tricked him into assuming it was a woman, which demonstrates that he actually fucking understands that the SAVE Act will disenfranchise women disproportionately, and that's without even bringing up that they're disproportionately going to have to deal with the name change issue. Can you fucking respond to that, TikTok user? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, I was muted, and then I got a 12-minute lecture that went from voter ID to Project 2025, and
you need some lecturing, dude,
and all kinds of things. So
I was just trying to explain why we know they're trying to disenfranchise specifically women, because it's in their playbook for what they're wanting to do. This is all part of it. That was very relevant. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me say this, and I just wanted to say this to the host. It sounds like you have some kind of career, or you do something in media or something like that. Just a tip: if you're in a conversation with someone and you're muting people, and in the conversation your side,
I don't mute people. It's a rule. As a rule, I very rarely mute people, and I announce it to the chat if I do it. But again, you're completely sidestepping. I really want you to respond.
Hang on. So if you allow your side, like Diava talks, if you let her explain her point for 5 minutes, but you don't allow the same courtesy for me,
we are, and you're not.
There's no circumstance in which we have a conversation where it does anything. It's just somebody basically, just railroading the whole thing.
Sitting here asking you to respond. Like, I'm directly asking you to respond to a thing that just happened.
Yeah, I just wanted to point it out because there was a 12-minute gap in where I was able to talk and you guys talked.
Yeah, it was not 12 minutes. I haven't been on here 12 minutes. You're lying.
Yeah, Diava has been up for 7
Debate
minutes.
the minutes. Fine. Totally.
Again, you're just you're bringing up all these exaggerated numbers, which that's something that
you wanted me to respond to the fact that you feel that you got a really big gotcha on me.
Super big gotcha. Yes or no in the chat. Yes or no. Was it a big gotcha?
Yeah, I don't think that it's really a gotcha. I don't even.
No, I'm asking the chat. I want everybody watching to go to the chat and say yes or no to the question, was it a big gotcha?
You're using your time to whine instead of just answering and responding to what we said. Jesus Christ.
I just answered the host directly, ma'am. What are you talking about?
That's a lot of yeses. Oh my God. Thanks for the engagement, everybody.
It's bullshit.
So, dude, okay. So I'll take you right back to it because I really just don't want to. I don't want to drop it.
I know you want to relive the big gotcha.
No. I want you to. Dude, we can move on if you answered to it. But I laid out a situation where a person could have a hard time voting because of the Save Act, and I described that person very carefully, leaving their gender out of it. And then you immediately said, "Oh, you brought up some tale about a single mother," and I said, "Yes, okay, so you get it. You recognize that this is something that's disproportionately going to affect women. So you do understand then that the sorts of problems created for people by the Save Act will disproportionately affect women. Can you admit that? Because I tricked you into showing us that you feel that way. Can you at least have the integrity to admit that obviously that's the way that you feel?"
Here's what I'll admit. When you brought up the example, to be totally honest with you, what I interpreted what you were saying as is basically just there are people out there who maybe can't afford to go get an ID or can't afford to go and get a document replaced. I really honestly, to be totally serious,
the point
with you,
we're addressing is that you assumed that such a person was a woman, which you're actually right. Those sorts of people are disproportionately women. So you need to answer for that, dude. You've got some egg on your face. I'm trying to give you an opportunity to wipe it off, and you're just sidestepping it to other things. Why did you assumed it's a woman I was talking about?
So later in the conversation, when I brought up the fact that you did that, all I did was say a single mom who works as a waiter down the road. And to be honest, I just didn't remember the exact words you said, and just a scenario in my head because you said waitress. I commonly associate waitresses with women. So it's not really.
You said wait tables.
Yeah,
wait tables. Yeah, a waitress. That's what they do. That's the description of their job.
Tables. Wait.
Yeah, again, okay, so not only do you understand that the Save Act is bad for women, you are also sexist. What is your point?
Do you not think that most waitresses are women?
No.
No, I don't actually think that.
Okay, so I'm just totally at a loss here. I thought that this was going to be a pretty good conversation. You don't think that the majority of the people who work as waiters in the U.S. are women? You think it's a mostly male-dominated industry?
I mean,
okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that mostly women are nurses?
That one's really disproportionate. Yeah, that happens to be true.
Okay,
yeah. I don't know about waiters, dude. In my personal life, that's not the impression I get. Childcare professionals.
So
I've spent a lot of time in my life being a childcare professional, and I was the exception. Okay. Most of them are women. That's true. I know that about that. Waiters, I don't know, dude. I live in Minneapolis. This is a creative space. Most people who are waiters here are starving artists who are trying to make it, and a lot of them are dudes. I don't actually get the impression that it's mostly women being waiting tables. But again,
where I live, for instance, and it's not anything against women or pro or against women, just the majority of the people who wait tables where I live, they're usually women. They're usually young women who are in college working just for extra money or whatever, yada, yada, yada. But so when I said that, it's not like I'm saying as an admission of, oh, this will disproportionately affect women. Just when you said wait tables, that was the first scenario, and I didn't remember exactly what you said. But on the actual
you recognize that's your bias filling the gap,
Listen, okay, but you
invented that she was a single mom.
Okay.
I didn't talk about kids at all. What is your why are you painting this picture with your own bias and then not recognizing that you at some level understand the disproportionality of this?
Earlier in the conversation, did I or did I not say I am not super familiar with the language in the Save Act specifically?
And that's why I was telling you.
Yeah, we're explaining it to you.
Okay, but just yes or no?
You did say that.
Okay, perfect. So when I said what I support is a common sense show ID to register to vote or to vote. So I didn't say that I explicitly love the Save Act and I'm the biggest fan of the Save Act exactly as it's written. I said that I think that voter ID in a general sense is not a bad idea. Okay.
Then make it.
You guys went on a 25-minute tangent talking about how
Diava has only been on the call for 12 minutes, dude. Stop exaggerating.
And I didn't even endorse it. So if you're so sensitive to the topic, it's difficult to have a conversation.
All right, wait, hold on. Diava, let me review what's happened in this call so far. Let's just take a top down on this. You called in and said that you don't understand the Save Act, which you've also demonstrated.
That I didn't read the language.
Yeah, that you don't know the language of this, so you're not an expert on it. And then we've explained the ways in which it can disenfranchise people. I tricked you into assuming that the person I was talking about it disenfranchising was a woman, which shows that you're both sexist and actually understand that life is hard for women.
I never endorsed the Save Act.
Yes, you did. You said that that requiring people to social citizenship to vote is good. Like, that's what we're arguing about.
I don't think. No. Okay, you're missing the point.
Do you think we're right then?
You could implement that without disenfranchising people. You could write more language to actually help out the people that would be an issue for. But I did not ever at any point say that I absolutely support the SAVE Act as it's written. You guys just went on a massive tangent.
Then I'll ask you straightforwardly.
I disagree with you.
Given how the call has gone and the things that you've learned, maybe if you believe us, do you think the SAVE Act should pass? Yes or no?
No.
Yay! Good.
But I still think that there's some form of showing citizenship and showing your ID to vote is a good idea.
No. For the reasons the reason that you think the SAVE Act is bad is because we just laid out that that's bad.
Showing ID, if just no language behind it, no actual rules, but just the idea of showing an identification,
then it has to be free
to vote. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, but what I'm saying,
the idea that showing ID to vote is somehow it's like
listen to me.
disenfranchises
I need to address something. Listen to me. What I'm saying is that I'm not suggesting that you should be able to vote if you have a driver's license, because not everybody who has a driver's license is eligible to vote. There's lots of people who have driver's licenses who aren't eligible to vote. They could be felons. They could be non-citizens. There's like a whole bunch of stuff about this that make. So what I'm not saying that any somebody deal with this all caps in the chat. Diava, do some moderating.
I got him.
I'm not saying that if you have a driver's license, therefore you can vote. I'm saying if you have a driver's license, therefore you can apply to vote. And because the government fucking knows if you're a citizen or not, they will just check. Why add more steps? Why make it harder? What does it accomplish?
You already have to prove your citizenship when you register. It's moot to have to do it when you vote.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, and this is where you guys started kind of going off on a tangent. I have actually literally I've registered to vote, and I've actually voted in real life in my own life. So what I'm telling you is, when I say earlier that, for instance, if you got someone's information, you could literally go online in 5 minutes, register to vote, and then show up, and you don't have to provide an ID to vote, and you could vote on their behalf. So I'm just telling you guys that,
and how many times
in terms of showing an ID,
I muted you. How many times has that actually happened? Unmute your mic and tell us how many times that actually happened. You are pulling shit out of your ass.
Well, you wouldn't know because that's kind of the whole fucking point.
No,
do you not get that?
Listen, how many times has that happened?
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
There has to be a certificate.
That's the thing. You wouldn't know because it's fraud. You don't know that fraud is happening until it's uncovered. Duh.
He's so full of shit.
But again, you can't just make up a problem and say it's big. Like, you need to show me the evidence that this is happening.
It's not making up a problem. It's the very simple question of if someone were.
Then what is the data that supports your position?
She has to mute me.
Yes, because you're not answering the question. You're not being non-responsive. We asked you, what is the data that backs up? What is the data that backs up that assertion that happens?
You don't allow me to answer.
Otherwise, you're making it up.
You don't allow me to answer. So
go right ahead.
Okay, like I said before, I did not invent a problem. I'm simply given the choice, right? Okay, so you get to believe one of two things.
I just asked you what.
Can you let me finish one thought? Can you let me finish one time?
What is the source?
There's not a source. I'm talking to you. I'm a human being.
But you have to have, in order for it to be a problem that we have to have voter ID for, then you have to have some type of data. This is a real problem. Otherwise, you're making up a problem that doesn't fucking exist.
Dude, do you have data on fraud that you haven't uncovered yet? Yes or no?
Are you asking
Hello,
me?
guys.
Are you asking?
Yes or no question?
He's literally showing you something.
I'm busy, but you're talking to
you're
Diava.
showing me an article that they say they're debunking a myth. I'm asking you a literal question of logic. Do you have stats on fraud you haven't uncovered yet?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now let me ask you this.
You still need to prove that the fraud is happening to say it's a big problem.
I don't actually. And I'm going to explain why. Because, for instance, when you're talking about voting, this lady will not stop. She will not stop.
Because you're not responding. You want to gish gallop to the next thought, and you're not making any sense. You keep making shit up. when you run a fact-based live like Oskar and I do, facts matter. And there is data on fraud. What is that percentage, TikTok? What is the percentage of fraud that they find?
It's on the screen.
Holy shit. Okay, if I'm not allowed to talk, there's no point in being up here. I mean, what is the point in this?
We're trying to get you to answer the questions. Are
You
you going to
need
hit
to
the run
engage.
button instead?
Oh my God, I asked you a question. You said yes, and then I had a follow-up question, and then she interrupts me while I'm asking it, and then you guys go, well, we asked you a question.
And he's whining again instead of just talking.
And okay, and when I'm honest with you, and when I try and be fair with you, you say,
I'm
well, you're
literally
whining.
scrolling the evidence against your claim on the screen, and you're ignoring it. Like, there's so many studies about this, dude. It doesn't happen. We've got like voter security in this country, believe it or not. We have 250 years of practice. We're actually pretty fucking good at it.
Awesome, dude. You pulled up a fucking BuzzFeed article that says that voter fraud doesn't exist. Whoa!
This is the Brennan's. This is not a BuzzFeed article. You're
That's
literally
the
just
Brennan Center.
you're literally just lying to me about what my source is, and it's listing
Watch
multiple studies.
Watch me Google voter fraud discovered in, and I'll find 50 articles of voter fraud that has been discovered in
You're
states.
accusing me of
not hard, bro.
You're accusing me of my source being BuzzFeed. When if you look at your fucking screen, you'll see that my source is Columbia University. My source is the
Great,
Washington
dude.
Post.
Oh,
My
even
source is
better.
a comprehensive study done by the Washington Post. Like
Awesome.
2 articles done at Arizona State University. Like you're just
Holy
making up
shit.
that my argument is bad when it's not, dude. You are honestly like
Your argument is based on something you read on the fucking
He's
internet. Yeah,
disingenuous.
you are a total genius, bro. You can't
Everything's
even-
on the
you can't
internet. How would you
chat
learn
with
anything
someone.
without using the internet in 2026?
Oh, okay, watch. Okay, do you want me to show you how I don't need to watch the internet, or I don't need the internet for this idea?
You can propose
No,
the
I'll demonstrate
tautology
it right
that
now.
if somebody
It's very
gets
easy.
away with voter fraud and they don't get
Just
caught.
hang on. So I can demonstrate it to you right now.
No, thank you.
Yeah, there she goes. Please don't, because you're going to make us
Because
look
it's
stupid again.
stupid.
No, let's let him try.
Facts.
Let's let him try. He's going to make the same argument again that if somebody votes
It takes
fraudulently,
facts and data.
he's going to say that if somebody votes fraudulently and gets away with it, then it's not going to show up in these studies. And
Because
I'm gonna
nobody will know. Wow,
right,
wow, we already know.
right, and that's
Not my
correct. But
argument.
what I'm saying is, after decades and decades of people studying it, why is there no evidence? Like,
Let me know. No,
you
let
need
me
to
know when
prove
you
that
want
this
me to
crime
make
is
my
happening.
argument.
You're accusing a massive amount of crime of happening, and
not gonna let me
you
make
don't
my
have
argument.
evidence. Now go. What's your point? Make your argument.
Okay, here's my argument. Okay, if no one gets disenfranchised, if no one is hurt, no one's ability to vote is taken away from them. Okay, do you think that it would be a positive or a negative thing? And it's totally free. Everyone has it. There's no one that is left out. Just in theory, do you think that it's a ridiculous thing to maybe want people to show their IDs where they vote?
Right, but you just started that with a
Yes
really.
or no? It's a yes or no.
I'm going to say yes because you included an enormous
Okay,
if.
so I
Wait,
win.
no, stop steamrolling. You said if nothing
No, I just
negative.
won. That's
no,
it. You just conceded.
listen. I didn't concede. You started by
Yes, you
saying,
did.
dude, let me talk. You just accused me of talking over me, and now you're doing the same thing to me. Are you going to let me answer or not?
No, you just conceded.
No,
That's it.
I
The
didn't concede.
conversation's over.
You
just
started by
conceded.
saying, I am going to mute you, which I rarely do. Thank you, D.
He dropped. He's a coward.
Okay,
He
wait.
used
Let me
the
say
word
my
if.
point. Let me say my piece so I can get it for everybody listening. He started by saying, if nothing bad could happen, then would it be a good idea? And it's like, well, fucking duh, dude. Like, if nothing
Duh.
bad happens, then you started by proposing that all the consequences we're talking about aren't going to happen. But this, unfortunately, is the real world where those consequences are real. And he recognized himself. He showed his bias that he knows that those sorts of difficulties are going to disproportionately affect women. We didn't even have to talk about poor people generally. So yeah, absolutely bad faith. I literally showed him a source and he said it was BuzzFeed. No, it wasn't. Like, what the fuck is this craziness? Like how do these people not accidentally unalive themselves navigating the world when their brains work this way? I don't understand how this person is functioning as an adult. Sorry.
It's anti-intellectualism.
Valid crash out, I would say.
It's anti-intellectualism is what this is. You don't need sources. You don't need data. You don't need the internet. You don't need sources. You don't need facts. You don't need data. You just need my opinions and my ideas.
To everybody who just listened to that conversation on YouTube, because I know that conversation is getting posted on YouTube, thank you for making it all the way to the end. If you want to hit up the link tree in my bio, you can follow me on TikToks to watch the lives as they happen, or on Instagram to watch where I post a lot of my interesting content. And even if you don't use either of those platforms, giving me a follow there helps me reach some follower goals, and that makes things easier, especially on Instagram, trying to get to 10K. So if you want to go do that, those are totally free ways to materially support what I'm getting up to. And if you want to materially support the type of stuff that I'm getting up to, there's also some ways to do that at the link tree in the bio. Thank you very much for listening. How you doing, Diava? You having a good day?
I am. I am having a good day.
I'm having a great day. That was a fun call. I'm so excited about the clip of him falling for that. That's it's rare. It's rare when I know a clip's going to be good, because for the most part it's kind of just random and I do a bunch of trial reels. But like, oh my god, gotcha of the week at least.
I knew when he said he doesn't know anything about the save back, but wanted to argue it. I'm like, no, you have to know.
Why'd you fucking call in, dude? Like if you're gonna sit here and just again, like it's also fascinating that I like brought this up and he said it's BuzzFeed and it's just not. Like, why would you call into a live and say things that are just like on the screen, false in front of everybody? It's just absolutely bananas. Yeah, that was. My goodness, I'm in a good mood. I'm so excited about all this, Diava. Like, my lives are doing so well. I feel so privileged that I get to have this wide an audience. It's
Isn't it great? It's pretty fun.
It's so very exciting. It's totally incredible. And I've gotten to brush elbows with like so many creators that I care about. And I'm going through this like local celebrity thing. Like, I got recognized walking down the street going to work yesterday because like
cool.
Because my following isn't like so big that's going to happen anywhere. But I'm at the center of where all of this shit is.
Right.
So like I'm very much a local celebrity for having. I was already like getting recognized pretty frequently prior to last week, but with like JD Vance after me and like all this attention from Fox and Turning Point USA, like I'm getting being in the bars performing on Thursday was wild. I had to offload all my responsibilities to my production team so that I could shake hands and make phone calls because I was like still busy dealing with the media storm. I'm going through it right now. It's absolutely wild.
Good for you.
Yeah, I think and because I'm so busy, I think I'm going to declare 1 hour into the live, which is a bit short, the Just Us Girls part of the chat, where I like talk to the chat for a minute and wind things down. So, or up to you, Diava. You want to take one more with me? We
can do one more.
Let's see what Giovanni Alvarez wants to talk about. We'll bring them in the box. We'll start by, of course, asking Giovanni, how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
I believe him. Do you believe him, Diava?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
Nigger, digger, 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 digger.
All right. Ooh, you were quicker than me. Yeah. Okay. I think that was a good call to end the call-in part of the stream. That's
Well, that's MAGA.
That's MAGA. There you go.